Okay, this video is number 2 in my render series, and so it is going to be called Rendering 102. So here we go. The goal of this video is to get good renders in the 4 viewports. Okay, so we want a good looking down one, through finger, side view, and whatever we consider a 3/4 view or perspective view. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to assign diamond to all of these. So double click diamond. If you haven't watched Rendering 101, that is a prerequisite to this video. So you should have watched it already. If not, follow along anyway. All right, let's go to metal. Let's go to polished. And double click yellow 18, and that's it. Okay, let's go to show ground plane. I think I'll do square video or renders. All right, so we're going to show the safe frame. Now, what has been happening? Let's jump right to the problem child, and that is the looking down. Okay, so there we go. What's been happening is the way that the environment is wrapped around the globe, I call it, inside here, the HDR, it usually washes out and makes the diamonds look like frozen spit or something like that. They're real kind of blah. So let's see what kind of blah we get. So I'm going to start out with the default environment because that's where the program starts. So I double click that, got that loaded, and let's hit go. And there it is. Now, down the road, I have another idea of how we can fix this, but there's a way to get good renders in every viewport anyway, so let's get busy. All right, so that's fast render, only 18 seconds, but it's not going on the demo reel. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the props and I'm going to load in this oval sweep right here. All right, and there it is. And we're not going to render from the top. We're going to rotate this 90 degrees. And let's go ahead. That doesn't even have to be centered. I'm going to actually just hit undo on that move. It's fine. Okay, so we're going to rotate this way. All right. There we go. Now, if you want to make sure this is centered, it seems like I just did this in a video, but not in the 101 video. But anyway, what you do is you go to set camera, okay, and we're going to place target. Now, let's take a look at what we got. My X is minus 0.5, okay, so I'm 0.5 too far this way in the negative. The Y is 0.039, that's not as big a deal. But up and down Z, I'm at 1.505. Now I can decide if that's okay. I mean, like if I'm good centered here, then I could leave this one. So let's try it and see what happens. Let's go 0 is the new location on the X. 0 is the new location on the Y, and let's leave the Z at 1.5 and hit enter, and there you can see it zipped the camera over to the center of the viewport. Okay, now if you really want to know what's going on, let's go here and let's go and show the camera. And so let's go right here, show camera. Okay, so notice I had this viewport highlighted when I hit show camera, and there's the camera. And here you can see that the camera itself, or the point of attention, is 0.15 up. The other thing is my camera is a little off center. So what we can do is we can also say set camera, and we can place the camera and the target actually. So the new camera location would be 0, comma, and then minus 105, that's the location here. So I don't want to change that. So that's minus 105, doesn't matter about the 0.17, whatever. And then up and down, I'm 2.9, so I'll leave that 2.9 and hit enter. Okay, so there's the new camera location. And then the target location, as you can see, is fine. So I'll just hit enter. And now, if you look in this viewport, everything is lined up on the vertical. Okay, so that's how you can make sure. In a future version, we will have a button in the tools that says set target to a location. So there you go. That'll be automated. All right, enough of that. Let's. What I usually do is I type camera, okay, and hit enter, and you can show or hide. That's easier. So let's hide it. That way it's not in our way. Okay. With that done, I want to go ahead and move this over here. And I'm going to put the floor right on the ring here. Okay, so that way we can get reflections or shadows or whatever we're looking for. And speaking of the ground plane, let's go ahead and get that in here. And so I'm going to do the dark gray again. We'll also try white because a lot of people obviously want to. I think we'll do gloss. And here's where I'm going to select the object, select that, and then say apply to object. Because I don't want it to go to the infinite ground plane. I want it to go to here. Although in the other video, I did show that you can have this selected and double click it, and it will apply it to the object if it's selected. So that's cool. I'm still excited about that. Okay, let's go ahead and hit render and see what we get. It is already better. Okay, I worked on this. Oh, one thing that I did, let me strike that. Okay, when I hit pause, I changed something and did not mention it. So let me go back and do default, because that's where we started, was default. So let's hit render. And it's okay, but it's not the greatest. So I'm not even going to let that finish. Okay, let's stop that. And what I did is I've been playing around with a lot of different environments, and I'm really digging the high contrast number 3. So I'm going to double click that, and it says high contrast 03 applied to the environment. So thank you. And let's get rid of that one. And so with this, we can hit render. And that's what we're looking at, which I don't think is too bad. As this sits and bakes, as we call it, it should get better and better. So the idea is you get this viewport set up the way that you want it, with the ground plane, and 40 seconds, not bad. Not bad, pretty good contrast. I guess I'll let my viewers be the judge of whether or not they like it, but I do. All right. So this is a setup, and you could very easily save this file as your top view looking down setup, and then very easily just import rings into this environment. So a couple things that you'll want to do just to make sure that nothing gets changed as you bring rings in and out of this environment is you'll want to go to Set View, Named Views, and let's hit the Save here. And this one is going to be top view. All right, so there's top view right there. And there's that. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look. You can see that my rotation is 155, my intensity is 1. Okay, let's go ahead and make this render what I consider harder, and let's make the background white. So we'll click that and we'll hit apply to objects, and that's applied to that. And let's hit render. All right, so if we let that finish out, it's not bad. Same render, only on white, really, the way I see it. And there it's done, 39 seconds. Okay, so the way that I got to this, let's go ahead and let's do another render, and I'll show you how I kind of walked in why this looks good. So let's go ahead and I'm going to select this, rotate this back up, take the floor and put it up, and let's go to, I'll get that so it's right there. There we go. All right, and then let's get this on a nice 3/4 view. All right, so now let's go ahead and hit render. Switch to this view. Okay, and then we're looking at the render and going, okay, is it too bright? Is it washed out? I say, yeah, it's too bright. We have some reflections here. Do we like them? I don't know. So let's go ahead and stop that. And here is what I do to start tweaking, because you can sit and make changes and hit render, make change, hit render, make change, hit render. Or with this viewport selected, you can come over here to the Bella render, and you can render right in the viewport. All right, now typically what I like to do is the white to me is a bit distracting, so I'm going to select the ground plane and I'm going to double click dark gray and switch that. All right, so there you go. And you can also, if you want, turn the save frame off so that we can see what's going on. Again, it's kind of bright. Now, here's what's going on. We have the ground plane, and the ground plane is being reflected up into this big flat front surface, okay? So what I'll tend to do is take and run this back until I start to see it in that perspective viewport. Then I'll just push it back till it's there. Then when you let up, that lightened this because the environment outside of this ground is brighter out here. And so that gave us more light on the shank here rather than having this buried up against the back wall or whatever. And then it's a lot darker because of this dark background. Okay, so I'm just going to hit undo on that move. Okay, so now as we look at this, we go, okay, well maybe it's too bright. And you have to kind of let this sit and bake, you know, and it tells you the elapsed time and how far it is. So it's literally doing the render, okay? And it's a little smaller than the 700, so it's a little faster. So it's only 22 seconds to get to a render. And it's not horrible by any means, but let's go over to environment and maybe kick this down to 0.9, okay? Or let's take a look. Our rotation is at 155. Now, this is going to get real pixelated when I rotate this initially, but I don't like how bright the light is hitting. You know, it's washing out these side diamonds. And so I'm going to go ahead, and here you can see we're rotating the light around the scene, okay? And I have toned down this side. It's not as bright. I can, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just start at 0. So sometimes I find this kind of light interesting. It's like, oh, there's a light coming in and it hits that. If it bothers you, you just move it somewhere else. But we're getting two kind of cool table reflections here. It's kind of fun. And then, you know, you just kind of move this. So I'm let's go about 20 or so, 17, and then we're getting some table facet light up here. We've got 3 now over here, so maybe that's too many if we keep rotating. And I'm also looking at, okay, so here comes the reflection here. If that's distracting, then you're going to have to back that up. But I think you get the idea. You kind of just move this around until you get the look that you want. And I purposefully am not maximizing this view. Otherwise, you might as well hit render because you're as big as the screen. You're bigger than 700 by 700. Again, I'm back to where this is kind of too bright there. It's not too bad. I'm going to remember 209. We started at 155. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking at all the highlights. I wouldn't mind having something bright down here in the bottom of the shank. That's kind of, no, there we go. Maybe somewhere in there. I think I'll stop at 279. And literally, sometimes I'll go in here and just type. It's like, oh no, not that. It's 282. Let's try that. And now, see, now that introduced that. So then I'll go, okay, maybe 278. Maybe 279 was the way. I don't know. I'll go 278. Yeah. Got some highlights here, got yellow here. And so once you have that, you can just hit render, and if you actually pick the viewport, it'll render the right one. That's exciting. Okay. And so now that is our setup for a new file. So I didn't save the other one as a file, but we certainly can. So as you can see, I'm at 0.8 on my intensity. Pretty good exposure here. We've got contrast in the stones and so in the diamonds and so on. So I don't know. I think that's all in all not a bad render. Let's try it on white. Go over here, double click that, and we'll just go ahead and hit render. So there's that. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of this dark right here. It doesn't bother me down here. So the other thing we can do is if we're gonna render on white, we could move that, and that brightens this up. Whereas the dark was too dark, right? And then let's go back and let's see 278, let's go 155, and let's see what that looked like. Not radically. That got too bright there. So yeah, I think the 278 is better for this side of the ring, and by letting the white come back up into here, we've got a brighter deal. So I would call this one, I hate it when I do that. I would call this one the 3/4 view render. Okay. And away we go. And then just for fun, let's go ahead and there's that render. And I'm going to group this. So I usually type group. Group is somewhere. It's right there. Hide. And then I'm going to go in a job bag, and let's bring in just a completely different ring. Here's this one that we did in the first video. So keep current block and do this for all the other blocks. Okay, cool. All right, and we're not even ready for that. So let's go ahead and turn on the safe frame. Yeah, we're there. All right, and this one is going to be, let's stick with, we'll do white metal. There's white metal. All right, let's make you a blue sapphire and diamonds and render. All right, so little bright here, but I like that we're getting brightness up on here and into the reflection and so on. So I'm not mad at that. actually have a setup saved from when I was practicing to do this video. So I am going to go ahead and see what I ended up with on that. I'm going to open this file and say, no, I don't want to save that. And so here's my setup for the 3/4 right here. And let's go ahead. I'm going to hit pause. Okay, so I want to show you this. You know, I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, this is where I ended up on my file that I saved. Here's the deal with Rhino and the Bella render engine in the viewport. Rhino doesn't always update. It doesn't sit and go, oh, that's new, I have to update. And so this is all set up correctly. It's just not rendering because it didn't update. So what you have to do is you have to just go away from the Bella render mode. Then when you come back, it will be shaded properly. So let's see where I ended up. I'm on high contrast 3. I was at 175 and 0.6 actually. And so let's go ahead and hit render on this. And my wife just sent something to the printer while I'm recording a video because the printer's in my office. So you might be able to hear my printer going off. All right, so there it is. I like this highlight better. I like what's going on here. So let's take a look at what we got and make sure we're down with everything besides the printer noise. Okay, I'm on the edge of the ground plane, so I have highlights coming in here and over here, and so that makes sense. And again, I'm at 175 and 0.6. All right, let's try white and see what we get. Oh, I didn't have it. I didn't have this selected, so when I double clicked it, it didn't go white. Okay, I'm all right. I'm back. Here we go. I'm gonna hit pause here. No, I'm not. I'll just let it go. All right. So yeah, that looks pretty. All right, so this would be my setup for the perspective, and so I've been using the high contrast 03. I'm kind of digging that one, and so you just have to tweak it here and there. And at the end of this video, I'll have some renders that I've done of different rings with these setups, but here's my setup for perspective. And I'm just going to go ahead for the sake of the video and dissect what my other ones are. So we've done the looking down view, the top view, which we set up in here. So the moral of the story too is you have to do all the view renders in the perspective viewport. And you have to rotate the ring and so on. You can't do planar views. They don't work out. So this planar view, of course, is one that's one of these three. And so let's just hit render there for fun. And yeah, see, we can't control anything in that view per se. So that's not really going to work out. Okay, so I'm going to load my 3/4 or my through finger view. So let's open that file. Save changes to that one. No, I already have it saved, but okay. And again, It's not rendering right because Bella wasn't expecting a new file, and so let's fix that. Okay, so again, I just went over here and said, okay, you're this. I actually went ahead and reapplied yellow gold to the metal too, just because I could. And there you go. All right, so there's that one. And let's take a look at it. And if we go to environments, 155 and 1 was the sweet spot for this one. Okay. And so I think that looks pretty good. And as you can see, we are back to the ring is just as it was created at F4, and the ground plane is up there on the bottom. And I just zoom in until I'm good to go here. All right, and let's go back there, and then I'm going to load in the side view is the last one that we need here. So open file. Yep. Save changes. No. All right, and again we gotta. The good news is, let's. The good news is you won't be just rendering this again. You'll be opening the file, and I would, as a matter of fact, I would save it blank. It'll be a lot smaller. And then let's get a different ring. We could render, well, maybe I should render that one. Let me do that just because I've gone this far doing these. So come over here. But yeah, I would save these. I would save these scenes blank. Okay, so I went to shaded, went to back to Bella, reassign the gold since it's the existing one, and of course that fixes it. And there's what we have on this view. Okay, and then again, once you save this render, what I would do. Oh, let's see what we are here. This one's 155 as well because it was the same for the through finger view as it is for the side view. Didn't change it. 155.7 here, though. So we could save that. Let me get another ring and just see what it looks like in this view. Maybe this ring that I did from a marketing video. Yeah, so let's go ahead. So there's nothing on this ring. And so let's select all that and go over here, and we'll do white gold. And there we go. And you can see that happens immediately. Let's go here, and we'll make that a ruby. And then these stones will be diamonds. And there it is for through finger. Looks pretty good. You might consider this one going up one tick to 0.8. Let's go ahead and render that one. Really? How many times am I going to do that? As a matter of fact, I have an idea. I want to assign a right click to this, and it renders the perspective view every time. Boop. I'm thinking, I'm thinking, I'm thinking for this setup, we want 1. Let's see if that's too bright on that left side. No, so that's a pretty good. I think the other ring could have handled a 1 on there. So there's that. Now I didn't do my center thing at all, so that's a problem. So before I save this environment, I would save that with this centered. 30 seconds though, complete render. That's pretty dang fast, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. So then we come over here and just rotate it 90 degrees with the same setup. Okay. And let's see what happens with our diamonds. Every ring's going to be different, though. You might have to have one where the diamonds get that table facet has a straight up reflection on it, and that doesn't bother me. It makes it look like a diamond to me. And not every ring is going to have diamonds facing right this way. I'll hit pause. All right, 29 seconds. You have to be real careful because sometimes when it's baking, you get it looks like, oh, it's too bright. There's just no definition yet. And then once it bakes a bit, and let's face it, it's only 30 seconds. Then it's like, oh, there's definition in the diamonds, and the metal is, we've got white. With this, I always look for white highlights and good dark little valleys. A lot of nice contrast in there. So there you go. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and open up. And here are a bunch of renders that I did with these setups. I've gone through, and this was all high contrast 0.3. It was different views. And then let's do, there's those renders from that first setup. Okay, I didn't do these in white, but I should have. All right, here's this ring on gray. Okay, so each view there. And there's this was the same settings as the first ring. So these are all the same. And there are the same settings for each view on white. Okay, so you can tell it's the same. All right, and then here's another ring on the dark. Okay, same settings, and here they are, this ring on white. And here's this ring on gray with a citrine. And I think this is platinum instead of white gold, but not a huge difference. Okay, so there's that. So you should be able to take your ring and give it the same metals IM, same ground plane from the environment or from the props library, high contrast 0.3, and you should get these renders. Okay. The last thing that I want to do in this video, I'm at 40 minutes. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna open up another file. Let's turn off show frame, show ground plane, don't need that. All right, let's switch you to shaded, or you can use these buttons. But I'm gonna open up another file. Let me hit pause here and go find. Okay, I've got a scene. I took that last ring that was just in the images that I was showing that had the citrine and the platinum and the diamonds, okay? And I put one here, and then I just did lay down ring and rotated a bit and put it here. Now, let's go ahead and these all have the same materials. As far as that goes, it has those materials I mentioned. And then I think on the background, I'll make sure, I'll just do it. On the background, I'll select this. And I did this gloss cream color. Okay, so let's double click that. And then cream is applied to one. Okay, so there's that color. And let's go ahead. And I'm going to render this one a little bigger. So let's go here. And no, not that. I'll render it at this. And I'm going to go ahead and render this at 1920 by 1080. Now that's going to take a minute. We're not going to sit and watch that the whole time. But let's hit render and get this going. Oh, no, like I said, I don't have those. I don't have the metal applied to these. I didn't remember where I was at when I saved it. So there we go. There's platinum. Let's just make sure. I did see the citrines. I'm not sure about the diamonds, so let's just do those. So double click there. I got the background on there, and let's hit render. There we go. Okay, now you might be a little shocked. You know, these diamonds start out like they're almost brown or something. But then once the render starts to kick in, they start to get livelier. And I am going to hit pause and let this bake. All right, I'm back. That was 4 minutes and 11 seconds. It's a big render. And let's go ahead and save this. So obviously we're going to go up to File and Save As. Okay, and I'll just put this here. So this is the cream citrine. Sounds like a good ice cream treat. Cream citrine. Let's see, render number 1. Let's do 0, 1. Okay. Boop. So there's render 1. So if we zoom in, not bad. I think it's got a lot of good contrasts. Nothing's too blown out. We've got good lights and darks. It's platinum, so it's reflecting its environment and so on. And so there it is. Now, there's one thing that we can do to add even more realism to this render, because as you can see over here, you know, the prongs are just stuck in there like they would be, you know. But if this was cast, there would be like a softness to this. Like this part would run into this part, and you know, here it wouldn't be so abrupt where it goes down in there, and so on. So one trick that I like to do is I'm going to go ahead and I think this is on this layer over here. Yeah, okay, I've got that. Let's put that on orange. Okay, and we'll turn that off. And okay, I have this grouped already, so I'm just going to hide it. And okay, so I'm going to select this metal and this metal. And I'm going to go over to production, and I'm going to go to Voxelizer. Okay? Actually, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to make this one object. You could voxelize it right now, but what I like to do is I like to run model repair first, actually. So just kidding, not voxelizer yet, model repair. And I'm going to let it do its business. Okay, so there's the repaired model. We'll put that on metal 4. Okay, and turn off this and this. What's on? Oh yeah, orange. Okay, so there's the model repair. Then I'm going to switch to work 03. Now I'm going to do Voxelizer. And a Voxelizer works in voxels. There, how's that? A voxel is, think of it as a 3D pixel. And basically what the program does is it goes, okay, I have this object, and I'm going to put all these little 3D pixels or cubes in it, and it's going to fill the model with these cubes, and then if the cube doesn't fit all the way inside, then it'll drop the outside cubes, and they're really small. So, but what it does is it kind of fills in the voids, and then I like to turn smooth output, maybe default to no when you run it, but I'm going to leave for a ring this busy or detailed, let's say. I'm going to leave the cube size at 500. That's a good default starting place. I'm going to smooth output to yes. Okay. Smooth passes is 10. The smooth strength is 0.5. Okay. And the smooth edge length is 0.1. This, I believe, is default, and it works really well. That's why we defaulted to it. And so let's hit enter. And so now it's generating the voxel mesh. And I don't know, by the time I get done saying what it's doing, it may be done. So I'm not going to bother hitting pause. Okay. There we go. So now it's on this layer, so we can turn off the repaired model. I'm going to make sure, because I'm going to zoom around, but I want my render to be exactly the same. So I'm going to go to Set View, Named Views, and I'm going to save over this one, Perspective View 01. Okay. It exists. Do you want to overwrite it? Yeah. Okay, we're good. All right, so now I can go to like this shade mode, and here's what I'm getting at. See how it's as if it was cast and polished, and everything's just kind of relaxed and filleted, if you will. It's all just filled in and like it was cast and polished. All right, so here, if we go to set view, you can see that perspective view 01 is here. If I click it, we're back. All right, but I speak too soon. I want this one to replace the laying down one too. And let's go here and here and hit show. So there's that. So, honestly, I don't need any of this metal anymore. I'm going to orient this red one over here. So let's go right click, delete, right click, delete. Okay, I have finger rails, luckily, that really helps. So I'm going to pick this ring, and I'm going to use transform orient 3 with copy equals yes, and turn on O snaps, would be a lot faster. And there's a quad, and perpendicular or quad, and then we can go top or bottom. So let's say I went left to right to the top quad. All right, and then we're going to come over here, and the weird thing is you would expect the quad to be over here or over here, and it's not. It is there. So let's see, I don't really want that quad. I would want this one. So this quad and that quad, and then the top would be whoop, that quad. And you might go, oh, well, that was a swing and a miss. You're not wrong. So let's fix it. And we have a button. Let me sub-select this finger rail here. Come on. That's grouped. Let's ungroup it. So tools and ungroup. All right, fine. Okay, so there's the finger rail. And under tools, we have gem view and surface view, and we now have a curve view. So if I click that, then it puts that curve flat to the world, and it puts it at F4, and life is good. And then we select this, and we go rotate, and I am going to put project on, and the center of the rotation is F4, okay? And the angle is straight, so just hold down shift. And then I want to line this up with the either the QLit or where all these facets are joining. Either place will work. And hey, what do you know? And then when you're done, you click this again with nothing selected and hit enter, and it puts your view back. So you don't want to forget to put your view back if you can help it, okay? And then we want to go back here to set view and perspective, and we're back. And now we will show our backdrop, and I'll hit render on this and wait another 4 minutes. You guys talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be back. All right, so 4 minutes, 6 seconds, and let's take a look. Actually, I'm gonna save this one. File, save as. This one, render 02. All right, and then here's render 01, and this is the original, so you can see here it's sharp, and 02 has, you know, it's just got some character to it. So let's watch the metal here. Boop. And it's almost, I don't know, it's almost like it puts just tiny imperfections in it, like it's been cast and polished, you know. It's pretty interesting. There's that and that. So I don't know. It depends on, you know, what degree of realism that you're looking for. There you go. That's, you see, it's just the surface is imperfect, you know, like I'm sure everybody watching this video can polish, you know, as good as the first render, but this is more like what an actual piece might look like. So yeah, so that's Voxel, and I think that'll do it. That'll do it for this render. So what we learned is we can make different scenes and then just introduce a ring into that file. And down the road in Jewel Beetle, we will have this automated to where you can say, you know, here's my setup, save my setup. We're going to call them studios, I think. And you just have a ring, and it'll be introduced into a view, and it'll just render it in that view, and it'll be somewhat automated. So, all right, well, that's it for this video. Thank you.